Yo, yo. 1, 2, 1, 2. It's Vinnie Paz. I'm back again. Once again, thank y'all for watching these videos. Y'all hit me up that y'all like them, so I'm going to keep making them. Again, thank you for the support of The Void, my new single with Eamon, produced by Buckwild, DITC. Before I get started this week, as y'all know who have been watching, if y'all don't know, I'll get y'all up to speed. So what I've been doing with these videos, basically, I've been showing y'all some records y'all might not be up on, or records that I'm listening to, crossing various genres, hip-hop, funk, soul, rock, jazz, R&B, metal, what have you, etc., etc. But if y'all are getting bored of that, or it's just not your thing to listen to someone talk about things you might not be interested in, a couple heads asked about maybe submitting questions. So my business partner and I, my manager, and I spoke about that and thought that was a good idea. That way I could directly speak to y'all, even though we talk a lot of us talk on Twitter, you know, because I'm fairly active in terms of responding to people as long as they're polite. So I think that could be a cool idea, you know, answering y'all questions. If y'all send enough, I'll just do it through the whole episode. Or if you want me to keep talking about records and books and DVDs and shit like that, then I'll mix it all together. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm doing these for y'all. If not, I'd just be listening to myself talk. So it's really, this is for y'all. So if you want to send questions, I'll answer anything, talk about anything. And if you want to be an asshole about it, that doesn't faze me either. We'll just delete it. So the reality of the situation is that troll shit don't work on me. It never has. So it's really a waste of your time and helping yourself get towards carpal tunnel syndrome if that's your ultimate goal. But I like the idea of talking to y'all and answering questions. So if you would like to me to answer your question, send an email to info@jmthiphop.com. That's info@jmthiphop.com. More importantly, or just as important, in the subject, put questions for Paz. That way, my business partner knows, you know what I'm saying? So you don't get lost in the shuffle, because you'd be surprised at the high level of retardation that comes through that email per day. My man Edgar's over here relaxing tonight. He's not on my top. Maybe by the end of the video he'll come in and give a little cameo for y'all. But right now he's chilling right here. So yeah, info@jmthiphop.com, and put questions for Paz in the subject. Like I said, it could be humorous, it could be whatever, you know what I'm saying? I'll talk about anything, but if you're on some asshole sucker shit that wants to get slapped, yeah, it's just gonna be deleted anyway. So it's a waste of your time, everybody's time but mine, because I'll never see it. I don't check that particular email. So yeah, what I've been doing lately is talking to y'all about records I've been listening to recently. And a few episodes ago I said that I wasn't listening to much hip hop, and then lately I've been listening to a lot of late 80s, early 90s stuff. In part because of this video, because I realized I was saying, yo, I don't really listen to much hip hop during my writing process, and then I figured, let me go through some of the crates and see what I haven't listened to in a long time, just to, you know, the nostalgia of the 90s is a big thing for me. I'm not one of those bitter people that says everything was better in the 90s or things like that. It was just, that was my era. That's when I came up. That's when, before life became difficult, you know what I'm saying? Not difficult, before life, you know, before you got to grow up and do, you know, and do adult shit, which nobody likes doing, you know what I mean, whether they admit that or not. So this album, last episode I spoke about King's Son and the XL album, and I mentioned I like Righteous but Ruthless better. So you were probably thinking, well, why don't this dumb motherfucker show that album then if he likes the other one better? Because I thought that myself. I guess reason was it wasn't around in arm's length. So I made it a point to dig through thousands of records to find this record because I figured don't be a hypocrite in your videos. Big up the record that you like better. So this record, King's Son, Righteous but Ruthless. King Shamik produced the majority of this. I spoke to y'all about him on the last one. I was saying I will always, historically think of King's Son and wonder what if he got down with Marlon Marl. What if Premier had done some work on his stuff. There was obviously a lot of great producers back then. What if he had met Paul C? What if he had met Large Professor? Somebody who did do beats on this is the legendary Tony D out of New Jersey. Tony D was an Italian head. He did all of the Poor Righteous Teachers stuff. He did a solo record. He was also in a group in the 90s. Tony D passed away recently. Rest in peace, Tony D. But a lot of people thought Tony D was Spanish. Tony D was an Italian guy. Ironic that he worked on this record, being that King's Son was a 5%er. And there's a lot of Kill Whitey shit on here. I used to love Kill Whitey records. They were hard. Poor Righteous Teachers is actually on this album. They're on a song called The Gods Are Taking Heads. That name is hard. The record's hard as nails. Be Black, that record's hard as nails. This record's super duper hard. And I like it better than XL, the one I picked up previously. But like I said, I was too stupid to pull that record out. This record, from what I can gather, the friends I've talked to, it's hard for me to know what was rare and what wasn't rare because I was up on everything back in the day. So I never really distinguished between a record that people didn't know and a record people did know, because me and the people around me made it a point to be up on every record. This record was real, real dope. Black Rock and Ron, Stop the World. These brothers self-produced it. Russell managed these dudes. This was on RCA Records, but Russell managed these dudes. Russell Simmons on through Rush Management, Rush associated labels, whatnot. But yeah, I like this record a lot. The beats were hard. They were down with with Russell and Leo Cohen. Yeah, I would, like I said, big fan of this record. They recorded at Chung King. That's the studio where I recorded Visions of Gandhi. Paul C, who I mentioned previously, ironically engineered this record. I've heard a lot from friends, including Pharoah Monch, that when Paul engineered stuff, that he also had a big part in the production of it. So maybe a lot of these beats Paul C did. R.I.P. Paul C. Paul C is one of my favorite producers of all time. Got murdered way too early. I believe there's a documentary online about Paul C. His name was Paul McCasty. If y'all can find that, please watch that. If you're interested in hip hop culture, he was integral in Eric B. and Rakim records. He was integral in Organized Confusion, and he was Large Professor's mentor. So Paul C was brilliant. We lost him way too soon. This next record, again, this is considered a rare record, or not many people were up on it. Brothers of the Black Market, they were down with Flavor Unit. This was on Select Records. I think this is 91, 92, maybe 92. Select Records is putting out good records, early 90s, Chub Rock, a lot of good records. Production-wise, it says they produced it themselves. So essentially what that meant in this era, now when someone produces a record and it says produced by, it really means they produced it. And in this era, a lot of times if it was an artist producing it, what it meant was they would dig for the samples, they would dig for the drums, and it would be put together in the studio with assistance from the engineer. Again, I don't know these brothers personally. I'm not speaking for them. I'm just saying most of those records from the early 90s where it said produced by and it was the artist, most of the times they did find the loops and whatnot, but they didn't have the wherewithal or the know-how to work some of the beat machines and whatnot. So sometimes sometimes, sorry, I lost my train of thoughts. You know, sometimes they produced it, and sometimes they didn't. This next record, I'm not even going to play myself and try to pronounce this because it's Polish. So, any of my fans in Poland or any Polish Americans that know how to pronounce this, this is a black metal record. It's new. I love it. Again, I'm not going to pronounce it. Before you say, why is he even going to show it to us if he's not going to tell us what it is? Well, I'll give you the website. And that way I don't look like an asshole, you know what I mean? Any more than I already do. So, this record's incredible. It's on Witching Hour Productions. And the website is witchinghour.pl, which is obviously in Poland. Witchinghour.pl. I guess this came out late 2015, but I didn't discover it until fairly recently. Again, not gonna play myself and try to pronounce this. This record's dark and heavy as fuck. If you're interested, witchinghour.pl. And last but not least, I remember picking this record up on cassette in 10th grade at Funkamart on Market Street in Center City, Philadelphia. Got my hands on the vinyl a couple years after that, maybe, a couple years after that. So, like I said, I'm trying to show you all vinyl as opposed to tapes and CDs. This is Rough House Survivors, Straight from the Soul. I believe they're from Mount Vernon. And Tony Dofat produced most of this record. Tony Dofat went on to do huge records for Mary J. Blige. He worked with Biggie. He worked with Heavy D. A lot of R&B records that he was a part of. So Tony Dofat, and he's still doing big records. So this was really much more hard underground hip hop. Grand Poobah did a beat on here, and Pete Rock did a remix on here. Sadat X is on a joint. CL Smooth is on a joint. I like this record a lot. It sort of flew under the radar just because, you know, that explosion of the early 90s, everybody was getting signed, everybody was getting a deal, and everyone was hurrying and rushing the records out. So a lot of records slipped through the cracks. This is one of them. I like this record a lot. With the exception of that Polish record I told y'all about, you could probably find all these records, you know, at the normal places to find them. Probably find a used copy on Discogs.com or Amazon or something like that. Moving on, so I've been recommending DVDs or movies for y'all to check out. This one in particular is another documentary. It's called The Real Rocky. This is about Chuck Wepner. Chuck Wepner was known as the Bayonne Bleeder. He was from New Jersey. He got the shit beat out of him by Sonny Liston, and he went the distance with Ali when he was a nobody. Essentially, the Rocky Balboa character was stolen from him. Years later, Wepner sued. He got to run around for a while, but his case was so strong that he eventually won and settled for millions and millions of dollars. The Rocky franchise has made over $1 billion, so I'm sure Stallone would rather just get it over with and pay the man what he was worth. But Chuck Wepner, it's the story, you know, behind the story, you know, but it's basically the real Rocky explaining his, you know, his journey to get to that fight with Ali, who broke his nose twice in that fight. Super interesting stuff if you're a boxing head. Even if you're not, it's interesting. A book recommendation for y'all. This is great for heads who were alive, born, young, whatever, in the 80s. This book is called Satanic Panic. It basically focuses on the paranoia in the 80s of satanic culture and everyone thinking everything was somehow Satanism, you know, because heavy metal was on the rise, horror films were at their peak. So this goes into all of that. You know, covers, you know, when kids that were saying they were satanic on like Geraldo and Phil Donahue, you know, just yeah, basically it's the paranoia of the right wing, and not just the right wing, just mainstream America in the 90s, about Satanism and heavy metal and horror films, and oh my God, all our kids are going to become Satanists. This book is real dope. It's relatively new, so check it out if you get the time. So yeah, you know, like I said, man, I like talking about records I haven't listened to in a long time, and people ask me for book recommendations a lot of what I'm checking out. So I'm just, you know, trying not to be too self-indulgent, but just letting y'all know what I've been watching or reading lately. So again, I'll just remind y'all that I said, if y'all want to send questions in for the next episode or future episodes, if you're interested in asking me questions, just write to info@jmthiphop.com, and in the subject put questions for Paz. So I'm gonna move into a little bit of boxing right now. So for y'all that don't care about boxing, like I said, I'm gonna continue to put it at the end. That way, if boxing isn't your thing, you can just watch the first half and check out, you know, because I don't want people to feel like they're obligated to watch something just to get to a part they might be interested in. Before that, my new record, it's coming up. It's creeping up, man. It's coming out on October 28th. The Cornerstone of the Corner Store. As of right now, the single and video, The Void, produced by Buck Wild from DIDC and featuring Eamon. That's out now. That's on my YouTube channel. Also, my podcast, The Broad Street Breakdown. That's broadstreetbreakdown.com. You can check all the episodes on there for free. You don't gotta subscribe or anything. So let's get into Canelo Alvarez, Liam Smith. Again, I critiqued Canelo's pick and opponents. He's not a kid that strikes me as someone who ducks people. You know, I might have criticized him a little bit in the last video I did about not fighting Triple G, and until he signs that fight, I will continue to post-fight. He said that they offered Triple G an offer. Look, man, you have to understand that the average fan or the casual fan is going to fall for that nonsense, but real fans, aficionados, or people with connections to the boxing industry and the boxing business are going to explain to you that they offered him peanuts. So it was basically, what they were doing was, it was a chess move. What's up, Edgar? It was a chess move, but it was an amateur chess move, because they're basically, what they're doing is, De La Hoya is doing that so as to say, well, we gave him an offer and he didn't want to fight us. Now, who's going to fall for that okie doke? Let's be real about the situation. You know what I mean? So, but to the fight, we'll get to that after. But as far as the fight, that's the sharpest I've seen Canelo look in a while. Now I know he demolished Kirkland, but that was Kirkland without Ann Wolf, and Kirkland, his defense is suspect. He demolished him impressively, but again, you know, without Ann Wolf and without, his power couldn't hold Canelo off. That's how strong Canelo is and how good his chin is. You know, the Cotto fight, I thought he'd win that. So the hard part about discussing Triple G and Canelo is it somehow comes off looking like I don't like Canelo, and I love Canelo. I think he should take this fight. So whether it's Twitter or Instagram or these videos, it somehow looks like I don't like Canelo. I don't like him. I love Canelo. Anyway, I thought he looked beautiful this past weekend. crisp, short shots. Everything was short. Everything. He looked faster. He was ripping that left hook to the body. He dropped Liam Smith 3 times. Liam Smith was very game, more game than I anticipated. Very tough kid, as most UK fighters are. Very tough, very tough. He came to fight. Canelo was just too much, too everything. He was faster than him. He was stronger than him. Canelo landed the more devastating shots. Canelo got hit by some shots. So that goes back to kids who just started watching boxing at Floyd's ascension and peak, who think that the only great fighters are defensive wizards. So they talk about people like Canelo and Golovkin. They get hit a lot. I've talked about this in 2, maybe 3 previous videos about people who talk about fighters that get hit a lot. Yo, someone who gets the dog shit beat out of them, okay, I get where you're coming from, but the fact of the matter is top tier fighters don't get the dog shit beat out of them. Top tier fighters, someone like Floyd, who's that defensively responsible and with reflexes that are out of this world, they come along once a generation. So to use him as the standard bearer of what a fighter should look like in a good performance is irresponsible, not only because only one fighter comes along like that per generation, and also you have to understand Floyd didn't throw a lot of punches. You know, Floyd didn't throw a lot of jabs either. He would counter with the right. He would basically slip shots, counter with the right up the pipe, and then slide out. So you're talking about dudes who throw tremendous amounts of punches in Canelo and Triple G. You're gonna get hit. Very few people that throw lots and lots of punches can't get hit. That's just not how it is, because you're in position to throw shots and land shots, so you're also in position to get touched by some too. Yeah, you can catch some on your arms and your gloves, and these dudes do that as well. Or they roll with the shot a little bit and don't take the full extension of the punch. Canelo's defense for a Mexican fighter is very good. As far as Triple G and Canelo, once they feel somebody's power and don't respect it, they're not too worried about getting touched, because Liam Smith landed a couple shots whereas Canelo said, this guy can't hurt me. You know, nodded his head, good shot, walked through that shit, kept banging the body, knocked him down twice. I believe in my previous video, I said he would knock him out in the 8th with a right hand. He knocked him out in the 7th with a left hand to the body. So I was 32 seconds off with my prediction. I thought the overhand right would have put him night-night, because Liam Smith likes to load up on the left hook. So the straight right was there all night. But Canelo said, look, let me test this kid's body. You know, let me bang the body. The body, you know, when you destroy the body, the head will fall. That was his logic. That's Mexican fighters' logic. He did it, and he did it well. I thought his shots looked super crisp. Again, it's the best I've seen him look in a long time. Not that he's ever not looked good. It's the best I saw him look in a long time. So supposedly Canelo has a December date, and it's not going to be Golovkin. So Golovkin's gonna go after Danny Jacobs' belt to unify all the belts. Who'll destroy Danny Jacobs? Who'll destroy Danny Jacobs easier than he destroyed Kell Brook? And as far as Canelo, that's supposed to be maybe November. Triple G, Danny Jacobs. As far as Golovkin, Triple G, Danny Jacobs. As far as Canelo, then that December date, it looks like he's gonna fight Willie Monroe. Look, I don't know what to tell you about that fight. Willie Monroe can box a little bit. He was able to beat Gabe Rosado. My dog Edgar could beat Gabe Rosado at this point. He's a human punching bag. I don't understand it. I don't understand how the guy continues to get fights. It's mind-boggling. If your answer to me is to tell me that he's tough, everyone that gets into the ring to some degree is tough. When you take L's for a living, he's a human L. He's a walking L. He's a breathing L. In the dictionary, in L, it's Gabe Rosado. It's mind-boggling that this guy continues to get fights. Everybody beats him. They either beat him bloody. It's just really, I mean, after these drubbings that he's taken, it's just mind-boggling that the guy continues to get fights. He's got the best people working for his management team is the best in the world. They have to be applauded because they keep getting fights for a kid that's not even 30, that's got like 11 L's. And he loses to club fighters in South Philly bingo halls. It's baffling. So Willie Monroe and Rosado was basically to see who would fight Canelo in December, supposedly, or maybe he won't fight in December and he'll wait till May. Either way, it's looking like September 2017 for Canelo Triple G. That's a lot of that has to do with the fact that not Canelo, but Oscar's scared. He wants Triple G to slow down and get a little bit older. Look, your boxing prime is like 27 to 33 years old in terms of physicality mixed with your ring IQ. So he's already a year past that. He's already 34 years old, about to be 35. So they want him to be 35, 36 years old before they get into the ring with Canelo. And if you look at it from a business perspective, why would they think any differently? Because Canelo put 51,000 people into that stadium against someone that nobody knows. So if you're doing 51,000 people in Texas, in the Cowboys Stadium, against someone that nobody in the United States knows, look, man, you're making a lot of money. You know, very high reward, very little risk. It's you know, the Triple G Canelo fight will be huge, but the risk versus reward is what Oscar is thinking about, you know. So it's hard, man. I've seen some people say that as far as the fight is concerned, when it happens, if it happens, as far as the fight is concerned, that, well, Canelo is a counterpuncher. Look, he counters, but let's not pretend like he's fucking Willie Pep all of a sudden. The guy's not Juan Manuel Marquez, you know. Basically, Marquez waited for everything to come to him. I mean, Canelo will counter you, but it's not like he's gonna stand there and backpedal and wait for action. He can and will come forward. So for people that are somehow saying like he's a pure counterpuncher, I mean, that's, I don't know what to tell you, man. You need to fucking reset and relearn the game. So basically what they're implying is that he'll let Triple G walk to him because Triple G is a destroyer. He's Michael Myers. He'll walk to him and then catch him coming in with counter shots, rip him with counter shots. Well, look at the Curtis Stevens fight and look at the David Lemieux fight. Two devastating punchers. What you have there is Golovkin boxed them. Golovkin boxed them both for like, what, you know, 3-4 rounds. So he doesn't just walk in recklessly into shots, you know. So get that out of your mind, that's how he's going to behave in the ring versus Canelo. That's not going to happen. He's too smart for that. I mean, the fact that people would just dismiss him as a straightforward killer and that's all that he has in his arsenal, you're talking about a guy with 400 amateur fights, man. So that's just either naivete or stupidity. I'm not sure which, or a mix of both. He's not going to fight Canelo the same way he fought other people that he just walked down. He walked them down because he could do that. He knows Canelo's too sharp for that. Too strong a kid, big kid. He's big. He walks around bigger than Triple G. He's a big kid. He can crack. Good skills. His footwork leaves a little to be desired. He's, you know, his feet are in concrete sometimes. That didn't prove to be a problem against Liam Smith because his feet were even more embedded in concrete. Will it show against someone that has good footwork? Yes, it has twice. It showed against Floyd and it showed against Erislandy Lara. It showed twice that people with good footwork give him problems. I'm not saying that Golovkin's footwork is like Lomachenko, but he has very underrated footwork. That in and of itself could give Canelo problems, especially knowing that something's coming back that's devastating. You know what I mean? So that's what we're looking at now. I thought Canelo did a great job. Liam Smith, respect to you. You're a game fighter. Tough kid, good guy, respect to you, man. Canelo, great work. He looked, I mean, to me, after what Triple G did to Brook and what Canelo did to Liam Smith, the fight is right, man. You got to make the fight now. They're not making the fight now. They're going to make us wait another year. Again, that's more Oscar than Canelo. I will say that. That's Oscar. You know, Canelo is the biggest star in the sport right now, the biggest money generator. And Oscar doesn't want to risk that. From a business perspective, I understand. But that's not the era that I came up in or how fighters behave. I think Canelo's kind of chomping at the bit, but he rides for Oscar, so he won't say, yeah, you know, I want the fight now, but Oscar won't allow it. He won't say that because he's loyal, you know what I'm saying? And they have like a brother, you know, big brother, little brother relationship. So that's really, Canelo's basically, it's a catch-22 for him because I believe he wants to fight. The kid can't make 154 anymore. He said it after the Liam Smith fight. He's done. So he's now officially the he's the Ring Magazine lineal middleweight championship of the world. So it's time for him to defend it against a real middleweight. He's the lineal Ring Magazine champ, and Triple G's the best. So we as boxing fans deserve that. Oscar keeps talking about letting it marinate. It's marinated long enough. I think we all know that. As far as upcoming this weekend, there's not any big fights. There's a good card on Showtime on Friday night, not Saturday. If y'all have Showtime, and are interested in Showbox, Showbox basically puts up-and-coming fighters, very solid up-and-coming fighters, against each other. So you watch Showbox a lot, you'll see the stars of 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. Many champions have come through Showbox. So a kid named what is his name? Travis Peterkin. A kid named Travis Peterkin from Brownsville, Brooklyn. He's 16-0, 7 KOs. Hasn't fought anyone yet, so that leads me to believe that those 7 KOs of those 16, his power might not be real. So I'm not sure. He's from Brownsville, Brooklyn, home of Mike Tyson, Riddick Bowe. Brownsville, historically, there's like 60,000 people in Brownsville, and it's bred numerous champions. The chances of that are highly unlikely, yet it happened. So, yeah. Rod Kalicic is who he's fighting. Rod Kalicic is a kid who fought Marcus Brown in his last fight and was robbed. He's 21-1 with 14 KOs. To me, he's 22-0 with 14 KOs. I like this fight a lot, only because this kid was robbed. So to me, he's undefeated. So in my head and in boxing fans' minds, this is an undefeated two guys that are both undefeated going at it. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I always love the Showbox cards. There are always 2, 3, 4 fights. There's always at least 2 or 3 fights. Sometimes there's 4 fights on Showbox. I didn't look at the total, you know, the whole card yet, but Kalicic and Kalicic, however, don't remember, you know, it's a difficult name for me to say. Kalicic, I think it might be, versus Peterkin. To me, it's 2 undefeated guys, and that should be a scrap, and there will definitely be a nice undercard. So I guess that's it for tonight, man. I appreciate y'all. God bless. Thanks for listening to me rant. Like I said, you know, hit me up. Let me know if you like the videos, if you want me to keep doing them. More importantly, I'm down to answer some questions. So if you write at info@jmthiphop.com and in the subject put questions for Paz. Also, you can check my podcast at www.broadstreetbreakdown.com. I am on Twitter at Vinnie_Paz. I'm on Instagram, BoxCutterPazzy. Facebook, Jedi Mind Tricks. Facebook, Vinnie Paz. And last but not least, you can get everything from vinyl to CDs to hoodies to hats to digital downloads, everything at jmthiphop.com. Once again, God bless you. Thank you for listening. And I'll talk to y'all next week. But send me those questions in, all right? Peace.